Coming up, a Sad Styles production. Get into it!
So speaking of Lemonade Tycoon, what is the game you think you've learned the most from? It can be educational, but it doesn't have to.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Mm-hmm. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about skateboarding before that. And now I feel like I have a good handle on skateboarding. Not my ability to do it.
Yes.
But I understand the culture, lots of moves. Yeah, like different parks, famous parks, things like that.
Skateboarders I know a lot more about, but I'm just wondering how you've applied that education to your day-to-day life.
Oh, you want it to benefit me?
Well, I would assume so.
No. Pass. Next question, please. Welcome to the Retrograde
Podcast where we remind you what you used to love and whether or not you still should.
My name is Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey Moneybags Aaronworth. Because baby, today we're talking about a tycoon, and it's a tycoon made of lemons. What happens when life gives you lemons? You build a fucking video game around them, baby.
An empire.
An empire.
Yes.
A tycoon of lemons. Now, this is fascinating to me. So we're doing the game Lemonade Tycoon because it is the 20th anniversary of Lemonade Tycoon. The game came out in 2002.
You were about to say 19 something?
Listen, I constantly forget that it's been 20 years since the year 2000. So I was going to say 1992.
Oh, 30-year anniversary of Lemonade Tycoon.
Yeah, maybe.
Wow, soon. Yeah.
I mean, but technically I'm not wrong. I guess technically I'm wrong.
No, technically you're wrong.
Functionally, I'm not totally wrong.
I'd love to hear your thing. Can you show your work? Can you show your math on this one?
Nope, don't ask me to do that. I used a graphing calculator, one that's powerful enough to run this game, Lemonade Tycoon, because the 2002 release was actually on like a Palm PC. Like it was. Oh
my God.
This game has a storied history. The source code has touched many hands, and we're going to get into the history of it in a little bit. But I want
that always equals success.
Always equals success. There is a weird kind of through line that I can draw between this game and Tetris. Now, our Tetris episode 200, which we did, I guess, 10 weeks ago.
Sure.
At this point, went through the whole story of the production of Tetris. Okay. Fascinating story all around, as narrated by your one and only lovable host, Mikey Aaronworth, as opposed to your unlovable host, Andrew.
The fuck? Jesus Christ.
But before we talk specifically Lemonade Tycoon, Andrew, there's a lot going on in the realm of gaming these days.
Is there really?
There's a lot going on in the realm of gaming. I'd love to hear about it. Days. Well, okay, so I'll start us off.
Well, you're the lovable host. You can talk all you want.
Sure.
I'm just going to sit here quietly being unloved.
Have you been paying much attention? Yeah, I know we talked a little bit about the Overwatch 2 beta.
Yeah, I've been paying attention to it. I realized that there was just patch notes that just came out, and we're getting closer and closer to the actual game coming out.
Yes.
But you've been playing the beta.
I've been playing the beta, and as we mentioned last week, this segment is going to be called "As the Beta Continues," which is the story of my life.
Did you have to scan your thumbprint, and they're like beta confirmed?
Yeah, it was a blood test and everything. What it was a guy in a cutoff sleeve T-shirt. Told me he needed my blood. Yeah. I put my arm out as though he was about to take blood. He said, "No, you got to find a way to give it to me." So I had to cut myself for him while he laughed.
Wow.
And then he took it in a Tupperware container and said, "Don't actually need it, you cuck." Threw it away and he said, "Approved."
Right. The visual assistant shows up on the screen, makes fun of your wife, and then makes you kiss him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
true beta behavior.
Didn't have to make me, didn't have to force my hand that much.
Oh, really? I know. You gladly did that.
Gladly did.
What's this about? Oh, Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2.
Okay.
So I mentioned last week how different the game felt to me. The more I play it, the more I realize that initial shock in terms of how different it felt is kind of akin to the feeling you have when you play like a new NHL game or a sports franchise from one year's iteration to the next. So when you play a new Madden or a new NBA or a new NHL, it feels wildly different just because the balancing is off a little bit. You familiarize yourself with a certain way of the game feeling, its mechanics, its balancing, so much so that any slight change, it's like a princess in the pea. Like it feels like a massive difference. Yeah. The more time I spend with Overwatch 2 in the beta, the more this game just feels like Overwatch to me. Because it was a lot of balancing changes.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
This is where I think the fan base is split. A lot of people wanted a brand new game.
Yes.
And to that, I would ask, what would that look like to you?
That's not my job, Mikey.
That's not your job.
I'm not the game designer.
Oh, you're not. Give me what I want. What do you want?
Yeah.
I don't know. You give
Even
it to
though
me.
the guy that they keep showing up on those videos kind of looks like a distant relative of mine.
He does a little bit.
Does.
Yeah,
I don't think we look alike, but we definitely are from the same tree.
That's true. One of the two people who took over sort of community relations from Jeff Kaplan when he left.
Because he was so much personality, you need to replace it with two people. I beg you, video game industry. I beg you. We do not need to hear from the actual people that make it. Put somebody on there that speaks for a living.
Yes.
Because I'm getting tired of this, like, we did this. Well, congratulations. You are boring as hell and these videos are 41 minutes.
Yes.
I don't know how in the world you expect us to get through these things.
100%. And you know what I think, though? The gaming community kind of likes their own telling them what the changes are. I feel like they find it kind of comforting to see that. And it is sort of fake when you get someone coming from outside of the company to just be like, hey, and welcome. Here are the changes to Overwatch 2.
I don't need that, and I don't need a guy.
Well, it sounds like that's what you need, Andrew.
No, not at all. I don't need a guy in a suit. A voiceover, a narration, just explaining what is going on instead of like you're right, like a guy just swilling Mountain Dew and just going like, hey, this is what we changed, Jerry. Like, I'm very curious because from my readings online, I have not played the beta. I did not get official beta status. Too much of an alpha.
I'm an alpha of the betas because I got beta status. Does that make you more of an alpha or more of a beta getting beta status?
No, I think the lowest beta is the most beta.
So
you know what that means?
So if I get beta status, then I'm more of a that's better as a beta than you. I'm getting lower on the totem pole.
Oh boy.
It's kind of like, look, in when we're playing Knights of the Old Republic, like a Star Wars game, you had the meter that was like your light side, dark side.
Yes.
And if you're light, you want to be all the way light.
Right.
If you're dark, you want to be all the way dark. It's not like being the lightest on the dark side is not an achievement. You want to be the betaest of the betas.
Right, exactly.
But if you make it a competition and you're trying to succeed at the competition, that makes you less of a beta.
It does. You should. Well, I don't know if the trying is the part of it. You should be the worst at it. No, I'm the best at it. Oh my God.
That's it, right?
I'm very confused by this right now.
Yeah.
If you know what we're talking about, get at us. But like, it seems like the online community is split because half of the people feel like the changes are too radical.
Sure.
I don't recognize this game anymore. What happened to Overwatch? And the other ones are, this is the changes?
Yeah.
It feels like, I saw I forgot what the joke was, but it's Overwatch 1.1.
Donkey.
Donkey. That's what it was.
Released a video on YouTube that is now making the rounds. Most people who make Overwatch content on YouTube are now responding to that video and a video that he made a long time ago where he essentially said, if I'm getting it right, if they release Overwatch 2 and it's basically a rehash of Overwatch 1, he would be happy.
Oh, no.
Which was kind of the sentiment at the time. And then you get that. And we talk about this all the time. We want remakes of classic games like the Streets of Rage game or something like that we played. And then if it's too much like what we remember, it's no longer good anymore.
Totally. You gotta add a twist to it. You gotta add your own thing to it because we don't want the thing repackaged. That only has that'll die on the vine.
Yes. You know? I'll say that in terms of my impression of the game, I'm bumping up against it a little bit. It's largely understood that playing as a support right now in Overwatch 2 isn't that great.
Yeah.
Turns out when you take away one of the tanks, there's less protection for you as the support. There are fewer people with large health pools to heal, which is where you get a lot of your ult charge from. And one thing that no one's really talking about, which I find kind of frustrating as an Ana player, where my mechanics need to keep up with where my players are moving on my team. All DPS characters have a 10% increase to their mobility, their speed.
Oh.
So if I have a Genji who is already hard to heal because he's moving around and jumping all over the place, now he moves 10% faster. It's that much harder to hit my own shots as a healer, and I have no tank to kind of like get my ult charge up. And I know a lot of people are like, well, then you're not good enough to play Ana. I was really good at Ana. I was like a 3,000 level Ana player. So relatively speaking, pretty good.
Sure, yeah.
And now I'm finding it really hard to compete. And it feels like Overwatch often finds itself in a situation where it's giving preference to the characters that are easier to play and making the characters that are harder to play worse. Like less it's like, well, Moira is so easy to play and gets so much value. Yeah. Why would anyone play as Ana over Moira? That kind of thing. Right. Even though Moira is incredibly easy to play. I find Mercy super boring. And often people on the team are like, we need a Mercy. And I'm like, sorry guys, it's quick play. I'm not going to play as her. Yeah. I don't like playing as her. Sure. I want to play as Ana, but it feels like the game is penalizing you for trying to play a character that requires more skill, as opposed to making the skill gap a little bit higher, the skill ceiling a little bit higher. So I'm struggling with that a little bit, but they're still balancing it. Like, here's the thing. The community that's up in arms right now needs to fucking understand it's a beta. This is not Overwatch 2 proper.
Right.
As they balance it, as you mentioned, there was a huge patch that they just released. There was a massive amount of changes, and there will continue to be changes, and that's great. So it's still kind of a wait and see period. I think by the time of this release, there'll be about a week and a half left in the beta. I don't think I'm going to go back and play Overwatch 1 at that point. I don't feel the need to do that.
Okay.
But I am excited to see the finished product.
Okay, well, there we go. There's our weekly segment, Eyes on Overwatch.
I thought it was 2 betas on the Overwatch 2 beta. 2 betas on betas.
Two betas, yeah, 2 betas on betas, the Overwatch segment. As we, I don't know, I'm excited. I wonder if it's going to make such a ripple. Like, when Overwatch 1 came out, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then it was a big deal for a bit, and then it kind of died away. And I wonder if this is going to breathe new life into the fan base.
Because it's so similar to Overwatch 1.
Right.
Which I don't think is inherently a bad thing.
Okay.
But because it's not doing much to attract people who had stepped away from Overwatch, I can't imagine that it's going to be bigger than Overwatch 1 was at Overwatch 1's peak.
No,
right?
I can't imagine it will.
But here's one thing that I'll say to everyone out there who's complaining about the fact that they have to pay for Overwatch 2. You better not ever fucking buy a sports video game, because you cannot make that argument if you've ever bought or Call of Duty or Madden, any of these things. If you've bought a yearly iterative game, maybe even Assassin's Creed, shut your fucking mouth. This game has been out for 6 years or so. And now they're asking you to potentially pay another $50-$60 to make the jump over to Overwatch 2. That is entirely reasonable in my mind. Entirely reasonable. It's be thankful there's not a subscription service with Overwatch, because they could easily do that as well.
I feel like that's what's coming. But yes, also, you don't have to. Don't.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can do your own thing.
Yeah.
You just sounded like the internet for 10 seconds there. You're just like, you fucking idiots. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
here we
but
go.
it is
It's a
sometimes
message board
you
come
need
to
to
life.
speak their language.
Yes.
Because they're out there like, Blizzard fucking sucks. They're making me pay for this update that they would have done for free in Overwatch 1. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's been 6 years, dude. It's been 6
also
years.
tank the game and they won't it next time. So,
that's true.
Yeah, don't buy it.
What is it?
You will, though. You will. If you're saying shit
You're
like that
already
online,
doing it.
you are absolutely, you've already pre-ordered it.
Yes.
Get out of here.
It's, what is it you always say? You're like, vote with your money? Or,
yeah, vote with your money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is how decisions are made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, but you complaining and spending time online, come on.
Yeah,
Come on, you done it.
We know. You
Get
bought
outta
it. You bought
here.
it. Look, you're a beta. We get it.
We get it. We're
I'm a
betas.
beta. We're betas.
Hey, just a bunch of betas talking here. We know.
We know.
Okay?
And if you're
Chill.
if you're listening to this right now, and you're an alpha,
Yeah.
let me tell you something.
Hey.
I will lick your fucking boot.
What's up, good looking?
I am sorry. For what? I don't know.
Can I grab your arm?
Oh, be careful.
Just like little
just
see
to
the
see
muscles?
how big it is?
Yeah. Big muscles there, Alpha.
Tell me more about the diameter of your arms. Mm-hmm. Is that what they talk about?
Yeah, I think so. I think they measure them daily.
Do you like red meat?
Do I like red meat? Or
Yeah.
is this Alpha like red meat?
Let's pretend like we don't know the alphas are talking about or listening to us.
All right, okay.
Andrew, do you like red meat?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm cool enough to have all that red meat.
Man, red meat to me
Yeah.
is so cool. If only I were man enough to eat red meat.
If only my body could digest red meat.
Enzymes.
Do you have trouble eating red meat?
No.
Okay.
Why?
I'm just asking.
No, I like red meat.
Oh, real alpha talk over there.
All of a sudden, I try to log into Overwatch.
You're
and it's
out.
like, we heard
Overwatch
you.
just ejected itself out of your computer.
Yeah.
Whoop, there goes.
The other thing that I want to talk about,
Yes.
speaking of voting with my money, I told you last week that I got an email that I didn't know how I would reply to. My reservation for the Steam Deck came up, and
Yes.
I panicked like a true beta and committed to it, even though it was way outside of my price range for the moment.
Absolutely.
Which was a little bit scary. It's an
Okay.
expensive piece of hardware.
Right.
But I figured I didn't want to wait another full year if it came down to me saying no to the reservation. 'Cause who knows when I'm going to get another shot. So if you're watching us over on YouTube right now, you're going to get to see what this thing looks like in real life. Andrew,
you have it?
You haven't seen it
No, I
physically,
haven't
right?
seen it yet.
So go over on YouTube if you want to see. This thing is fucking massive.
Oh, really?
It is. I said this before, like when we were kind of previewing it or talking about it when it was first announced.
Right.
It gives me serious Game Gear vibes.
Oh.
And here, I'm going to show you how big this is. So
Okay.
vamp for a second.
Yeah, okay. So Mikey is being a true Whoa.
Here's the carrying case.
He's got the carrying case there.
So it was delivered to me. It was delivered to me in a box. And
by
I was
a person in a mask.
by a person in a mask.
It was tied with a robe, like a little silk, string.
Yeah.
And then it was and then he put his hands to your lips and went, shh. And then I never saw him again. Just ran away.
I called Valve and I was like, very interesting delivery mechanics. They said, did you let him touch your lips? Do not let him touch your lips.
I don't know what you're talking about. And then you received one in the mail a couple days later. You're like, oh wait, what was that all about? Okay, so you're not kidding about the Game Gear vibes, eh?
It is massive, eh?
Oh my God.
Especially in how ugly this thing is.
Oh, good.
It is so ugly. But
Holy
functional.
Shit, that thing
it's
is
massive.
big. I thought the case was
You
just.
think the case is a lot of padding. Look how fucking big this thing is.
It's bigger than your head.
I have relatively big hands, and it is not better to grab
it's the length of your forearm.
It is.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's a huge. That's supposed to be mobile.
It's mobile. Now, if you're listening to this, the length of your forearm is your shoe size.
Okay.
I have about 11 and a half size shoes.
Okay.
And this is about this bigger. This is probably the equivalent of like a size 12 and a half.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
Wow.
But
What an alpha.
Very powerful. Thank you very much. Very powerful, unlike me. And I mentioned this on Twitter as well, and people seem to like it, those who had it. It goes through gas the way like a 1970s Dodge Challenger goes through gas. It goes through batteries the same way.
Steam Decks get plugged in all over, and there's brownouts all over the areas.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly. Now, here's the thing that I was thinking though.
Yeah.
So I've actually I said that I was going to go back and play Disco Elysium on the Nintendo Switch to give it one more chance as a portable.
And you lied.
I lied.
Really?
I went back to Disco Elysium on the Steam Deck instead.
Oh.
And it plays really well. And you know what? The battery isn't too bad when I'm doing that. But I put in Doom Eternal.
Okay.
Because I wanted to like kind of compare different games with different horsepowers. Sure. I played Disco Elysium for at least an hour and a half. Didn't put the battery down into the red. And in my mind, if I can have a gaming session of an hour and a half in full portable mode, that's good enough. That's good.
Okay.
Doom Eternal, I was at 30% battery. I played it for 10 minutes. It went down to 10%.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, no.
20% in 10. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That went down 20% in 10 minutes. That's kind of massive. But the game looked fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
gorgeous
good.
on that screen.
Wow.
The sound is great. I'm all in all pretty happy that I made the purchase.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep playing it, and I'll provide some updates as I go.
That is so cool. Yeah, you got to let us know. How are the controls? The controls good?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's so bulky. You have the joysticks way up near the top of the screen.
Okay.
I kind of prefer like with the Xbox controller how one of the joysticks is higher than the other joystick.
Yes.
I've always just kind of gotten used to that. But this is much more like sort of more like the Nintendo Switch. It's not incredibly comfortable, but it has additional paddles that you can use to program games. So there's a total of like quite a number of buttons.
Wow.
Like we're talking PC games, so there's usually more inputs. But you can map. There's the L1, R1, L2, R2, similar to most controllers, but then two more paddles on each side that you can use your middle and index finger to touch.
That's a paddling.
That's a paddling, baby.
Yeah, that's a paddling.
This Steam Deck must have spent some time at a fraternity. There's so much paddling in the back.
Are we saying paddling? Oh, that was my class. Sorry, I thought you meant paladin. Sorry.
Oh,
my bad. Okay. Well, there you go.
That's buff up that joke for a second there.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good. Let me charge it for a second. Oh boy. So that's the Steam Deck. That's pretty exciting. I'm excited to see what games you kind of play on that one too.
Yeah, you know what? Disco Elysium, I'm spending some time with. Just a game like similar to Death Stranding that I just hear such good things about all the time, even though I spent time playing it and it didn't quite speak to me all that much the first time. But it's so text heavy. When I first played it, it didn't have voice acting for all the lines. So I would just read it and you'd kind of lose it. But now I'm kind of enjoying the fact that like I know what I'm getting involved with. I know it's going to be text. And so I don't insert Disco Elysium when I'm going to otherwise play video games. I do it when I'm like going to read or something like that. Right. That is now like my pre-bedtime as I play some Disco Elysium. It's kind of nice. It's very funny, very well written. And I'm looking forward to spending some more time with it.
Well, there you go. Okay, awesome. Wow. So what a video game week for you, eh?
What a video game week for me. Andrew, I know you've had a pretty busy week, but you've been making your way through Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, some of the sports games. Anything else on the horizon for you?
No, I did tap back into Fortnite when it was May the 4th.
Yeah.
For their Star Wars thing, because it's created such like a weird mythology in that game of like the many different guns and stuff that have been retired. And so when big things like that come out, and by the way, it is a 2-week thing, so it wasn't just for that one day. Like the lightsabers come back out and the blasters and it's just so cool. I had such a good time with that. And then all of a sudden there's stormtroopers on the map because they crashed a couple ships and stuff. It's a really cool game. I don't know. I know that's like me and a bunch of 7-year-olds are still playing, but I don't care. And I win all the time. So that's...
and what are you playing it on? Xbox?
I played on PlayStation, actually.
PlayStation. Yeah. You're a PS baby.
You know what's weird? It's laziness. I don't really think I have a preference between the two. Mm-hmm. It's just like, which one is the one that it was used last? Okay, well, PlayStation it is.
That's fair.
Yeah, I honestly, they're both hooked up. I could probably just switch over the input.
To me, it was all, I don't give a fuck about an affinity towards one corporation or another. I don't care. And if you're out there on Twitter doing that, like some people do it ironically, and that's kind of funny, like really leaning into it. But there are some people who treat it like a sports team or a religion. Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I honestly, we're talking about the betas and stuff like that and having a lot of fun along the way. But if you're like bootlicking a corporation of billions of dollars that doesn't care about you, guys, you honestly got to pick something that matters more than that.
Just have more confidence in the purchase you made for you. It doesn't matter if everyone else is purchasing it. Like,
oh God, I really do not understand that. You're allowed to, it's like Marvel and DC or anything really. It's like you're allowed to just enjoy things and not have to.
Unless it's Zack Snyder.
And put others down in the process. Well, never mind. No, I could care less about those things. But yeah, it was playing on PlayStation, and that's been a lot of fun. And Lego Star Wars, I'm almost done. Almost done. I'll let you know.
What game are you? What's your next thing on your horizon? What are you looking forward to next?
Honestly, that is a great question. I don't know. Yeah. And if the D-pads have any suggestions out there, let me know. Let me know what I should be playing next. What's the next big one? Like, I feel like I should be tapping back into like one of the many games I didn't play.
Well, Horizon Forbidden West is one that you have that you kind of touched, but it was so close. I know when you brought this up that you were beating Horizon Zero Dawn so that when Forbidden West came out, you could just jump right over to that, much like Aloy scaling a mountain. But I worry that you get a little burnt out on it. Is that kind of what
you know what's funny? It's kind of like it's like a lot of things of like your queue on your Apple TV or your whatever you watch things on, and the second it gets off the screen, you're like, you just completely forget that it ever existed. Yeah. And I think I started playing some other sports games and like I said, Fortnite or whatever else, and Lego Star Wars would come up, and then it just gets off the screen and you're like, oh right, shit.
That's the abyss. It's in the abyss. I'm not scrolling too far to the right. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
What am I supposed to, what am I, a scavenger? What am I, like a spelunker? I have to go back and find you? Like, it's your job to find me. Come on.
Speaking of spelunker, that reminded me of the game Spelunky, which reminds me of the game Rogue Legacy. And Rogue Legacy is one of my favorite games of all time. Okay. Rogue Legacy 2 came out, the actual official release of Rogue Legacy 2 1.0, like the official release, just in time for me to get my Steam Deck. So I'm fucking amped to play that game.
I actually was going to ask, do you have any other game plans for the Steam Deck?
Yeah, so a bunch of these kind of indie games that I wanted to play. Binding of Isaac is a game that some of my friends just fucking love. Like, I didn't know you could put 200 hours into Binding of Isaac, but I know some friends who have. So I've gone and I've downloaded games like Slay the Spire, which I wanted to spend more time with. I've got Undertale on there. I've got Disco Elysium. That's kind of my big one that I really want to spend some time with. And then Return of the Obra Dinn, which I never ended up finishing. I wanted to play. I understand that game. I understand also hearing me say these games. A lot of them are available on the Switch, but most of my progress that I have spent with those games to date were on Steam. And now I can just continue that progress out of the box.
So the Switch and the Steam Deck are natural rivals.
I think they kind of have to be. And I think a lot of people would argue that they don't need to be in the same arena. Okay. But they do play a lot of the same games. And I think it's kind of like, like an iPhone out of the box just works better Like it's just more simple than getting an Android phone, which has a little bit of more customization and everything.
It's a little more streamlined.
Yeah. Maybe a bit more power on the Android side, or like the ability to integrate with other things, a little bit more customization. Like on the Steam Deck, you can flip a switch and enter developer mode, like right off the bat. It likes that modding and it likes that customization.
That scares me, Mikey.
Honestly, same with me.
Yeah, I'm like, every time someone's like, oh, you have a Mac, so you should get a PC. I'm like, I don't know. I don't. It scares me. They're like, you could change everything. I'm like, no, that scares me. I don't like that.
I like an element of that. But I do. I think that if the Switch is so much more portable, it's weird to say, but it's more aesthetically pleasing because I don't think the Switch looks great as it is. I don't think the controller's great.
It's better than this.
But that's the thing. Is it like when I'm comparing these two, it is actually better. It's a little bit like a dinner tray. It's more than that. It's more than that.
Is it heavy at all?
It's pretty heavy. Oh my God. The fan is so loud. It's so loud. I feel like if you're playing it on your crotch, like it's going to be, or like you have it leaned against your crotch, it's just going to be.
It's going to be sterilizing a young generation.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my God. Does it take long to charge? Now I'm fascinated by this. Because it dies quickly. So does it take long to charge?
I don't think so. I haven't noticed any issue. It's pretty standard. Like if I plug it in for an hour or so, it gets it pretty close to a full charge.
Oh really?
So
an hour is
not
we're
pretty good there.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, I think they are sort of naturally competitive. But there are those games that aren't on the Switch or couldn't ever be played on the Switch, which are on the Steam Deck. And even some of the games that are on the Switch run a lot better on the Steam Deck because of its increased horsepower, like Disco Elysium, for example. Notoriously not a great port. Overwatch, not a good game on the Switch, but you could run it pretty well on the Steam Deck. Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, there you go. Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna ask many more questions in the upcoming weeks about the Steam Deck. So.
Yeah, no, I think one of the most important things to remember is that Steam, obviously Nintendo, a great company with a lot of great games, but you don't get the full access to the entire Nintendo library when you get a Switch. With the Steam Deck, you do get access to your entire Steam library. So it was coming loaded up with all the games I've ever bought because Valve, it turns out, is a tycoon in the industry. Much like a child would be if they opened up a Lemonade Tycoon stand in the corner near their house, and then they started to sell lemonade. Basing it on the weather, people coming by and they're so happy. And it's like, what happened to my childhood? Everything was so innocent for a time, and
it was.
How much sugar do you put into the lemonade? And
do you know how to make lemonade? Do you know how to make lemonade?
Depends. Do you have lemons?
Well, that would be a key essential to making lemonade. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could. Have you ever bought lemonade from like a kid with a lemonade stand?
And a few times it's been
awful.
Highly disappointing.
It's lemon water.
Can I have my Nickelback, please? Sir, I'm going to shake him down.
Look at this graph. Nickelback.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes. Okay, so Mikey, to be honest with everyone before we started, I looked at you and went, what game are we playing?
Yes.
And you're like, Lemonade Tycoon. And I said, what's that?
That baffles me.
That can't be a real thing. I am a huge Tycoon fan.
Yes. You love capitalism. You love corporations.
You know me.
Your favorite one, because it's the coming together of two of your most favorite things in the world, is Prison Tycoon.
Yes. And Landlord Tycoon. The two ways we should definitely be making money off society. I love it. Oh, I love it.
What about,
I hate poor people.
What about Blackwater Tycoon?
Yes, that's absolutely. Also I tried to buy Ancestry.com and then actually was successful. So now they own all your DNA. That's a real thing.
Is that a real thing?
Yes, that's a real thing.
Oh,
you know what's so funny? That was like one of those. Oh, now, wow, we're really going off here. But it's one of those conspiracies where they're like, they're going to buy your DNA. Do not fill out these things. And then I was like, I don't know. And that's exactly what happened. And you're like, oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Didn't expect that. Whoopsies.
Whoopsie doodles. They just own our DNA.
You own me.
Oh, no.
A bunch of my clones off fighting for Blackwater. Just hovering in the corner, like huddled, playing their Steam Decks instead of fighting.
They wave it in front of a bunch of Mikeys and then throw it down into incinerators so they all die. We're done with them. All right, time to kill them. Yes. So, in short, yes, I love the Tycoon games.
Yes,
and I am shocked that I never played this game. I never heard of this game.
Same with me. It started off as an educational game. There's a rich amount of irony associated with the storyline of this game, because it started off as a one-off educational game, text-based game, and it became a tycoon. Like, it became a money-making machine of a video game. I'm surprised that you've never played this game because to me it was like 1-to-1 with those Mavis Beacon games, with like games that just they came bundled on every Apple II computer at a certain point.
Really? Okay.
In one of the iterations of it, and then from there it was just it's on mobile, it's on PC. It was a Shockwave game, so you could get access to it on just about every computer.
Wow.
But I want to kind of go through a little bit of the history of this game because I mentioned the 20-year anniversary from May 2002 when it came to Palm PC. That's when it was released as Lemonade Inc. But it started off as a simple text-based game called Lemonade Stand.
Okay.
1973 it was made by Bob Jameson.
What the hell was it on 1973? What was it made? Like
just a text-based computer. It was like part of programming, but the intention was to teach kids about commerce, about business, about stock, supply and demand, all this sort of thing.
Interesting. And
it was successful. The core formula worked and is relatively unchanged from text-based to here. Now you have a better user interface.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. It's then.
Do you want lemonade? YN? Why? You win. Like, all right, very good. I'm good at this game.
The source code eventually got leaked for the game. And capitalism capitalized as capitalism does.
Capitalism snake eating its tail.
The snake eating its tail, exactly. It took this game that was bundled with every Apple computer that started off as an educational game and was I think it was actually freeware when it first came out, added more of a user interface to it and started to sell it. You know, initially as a package and then on its own. It found a release as well as this Shockwave game called Lemonade Inc., as I'd mentioned, and eventually EA got the rights to it and released it on 2009 on the iPhone under EA Mobile /Jamdat. Jamdat being the company, if you remember, that EA Mobile bought because Jamdat had the rights to license mobile Tetris games.
Oh, that's what it was.
That was basically, everyone's like, why are they buying this Jamdat game? It turns out they had the rights to a mobile Tetris game.
Very bizarre following of licensing for Tetris.
If you're new to this podcast, if you're just out there up late at night Googling Lemonade Stand,
welcome.
And this is your first episode, welcome.
Yeah.
What I would recommend is going back to episode 200 and hearing the insane story about the development of Tetris, because as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, you can kind of draw a through line between the two games, Lemonade Tycoon and Tetris. The exception being that Tetris handled their licensing properly and Lemonade Tycoon did not, and just kind of got taken advantage of as a result. The source code, as I mentioned, relatively unchanged in terms of the premise. You have to sell as much lemonade you can over the course of a day. That's sort of each level, and you have to factor in your location. You have to factor in the weather, the ingredients, the population density, customer satisfaction, inventory. Some inventory goes stale, some doesn't. Some will melt, like ice, for example, will melt at the end of the day. So you buy enough, but if you have any left over, it melts. But if you run out, you can't sell any more lemonade.
Gotta have enough change.
Not actually.
The
lemonade stand itself, or the lemonades will go stale after a certain amount of time, so you can't have too many.
Okay.
All in all, very, very cool.
Do you have to vary the menu? Pink lemonade, limeade.
That would be really neat.
Wow, now we're expanding.
We're talking about the future, Andrew.
Brick and mortar.
Hopefully,
parking.
Daddy EA comes to the table and gives us what we need. Pink lemonade and Lemonade Tycoon.
Come on, give it to expansion pack.
Yes.
Pink lemonade version. No. Yeah, if you're just Googling Lemonade Stand, like, what is your life? Who are you? I want to talk to you. Also, Lemonade Stand feels like a robust thing that you would Google and be like, wow, there's a lot of porn under this. You know, like, or one of those things where you're like, what is that all about?
It's an accidentally, you type lemon party and it corrects to Lemonade Stand. I know why people would Google the game, because I think it has like an integral part to play in the development of young kids back when this first came out as a video game. This was one of the first and most accessible Tycoon games that I had ever played.
Wow.
And the simplicity of it, as we always talk about on this podcast, because what we like to do is go back and play the games we used to play as kids, rate and review them as we remember them, and then give them another rating as they hold up in the modern day.
That's pretty good.
Oftentimes the modern day rating suffers because of the simplicity.
Yes.
Because of the thing that we think made it good. It turns out we need more than that sometimes.
Well, that's true, but it also is divided among the modern score of games, because sometimes it's like too simple. What are you gonna do?
Yes.
And then sometimes it's like they weren't taking a huge leap, so it actually has translated pretty well into the modern day.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about how Lemonade State's gonna do.
I'm curious to see as well. It's another one of those games, we did last week. We did Fast Break, Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
Yeah.
And before we played the game, we knew it wasn't going to be a very long process of playing it.
Right.
I think Lemonade Tycoon is probably going to be pretty similar to that because it's relatively simple. However, it's an addictive game. It's, like we talk about some of your favorite Tycoon games.
Yes.
Give us some examples.
Roller Coaster.
One of the best.
One of the best. I fucking love Roller Coaster Tycoon. That's an episode you can go back and listen to, because we had so much fun playing that game. I will still go back and play that game.
The audio quality of that episode won't be great.
Yeah,
but
what are you gonna do?
because we were on the old mics and all that stuff, it was from quite a while ago. But I remember that was one of the most fun gameplay sessions that we've had. Talking about all the clowns,
murdering clowns,
having a loop-de-loop that goes like, did you always end up breaking educational games for your own sadistic purposes?
Absolutely. Eventually I'm like, okay, this is about Andrew Time. What is this? Enough of this stuff, spelling, get out of here.
Did you ever in Roller Coaster Tycoon have the roller coaster that was basically just like a loop-de-loop, and then you'd shoot off all the cars into a nearby lake?
1000% lake. No, you just right down Broadway. Like you right down the entrance, just murdering a lot of people, and then time for the cleaners and the clowns.
Send in the clowns.
Send in the clowns. Over bodies, like, here we go. Like, there we go. Perfect. Good job.
I love those games.
I'm truly a tycoon now.
What is it about these Tycoon games that captures you? Like what is it do you think?
Well, I'm also a huge fan of like SimCity, and I think there's a sandbox quality of being able to create, it's no different than like, you're a child with like blocks and stuff like that, or Lego, and you build it up and then you tear it down and you start fresh again.
Right.
And finding to maximize, like, the thing is, these games, yes, there is a success and fail element to it, and to be able to do well and make money, but there is also like an unlimited quality to it where you're like, I'll never beat this game. I'll never be the best at this game. And I can always just keep trying to go like, oh, this is the best rating, or this is the most money, or this is the best layout, you know what I mean, kind of thing. So
now what interests me about this is it seems like what you've talked about there is the actual interactive element of a Tycoon game. The laying out, the playing with the mechanics and all this, because Lemonade Tycoon, and I know I'm going to use this interchangeable with Lemonade Stand and Lemonade Inc. Those three are very closely related. So whether we use one of those names, know that we're referring to the concept.
If it has lemonade in it, that's what we mean.
Yes. That's very well put.
Well, no, thank you. I appreciate that.
When life gives you lemonade, you play video games with it.
100% you do. You try and sell it for the most amount of money possible.
Right. You try to become a rich kid as soon as you can. Gotta pay for daddy's surgery. What?
Whoa. The backstory is incredibly sad. Oh, no.
It's a reverse sugar daddy situation. Not your related daddy.
Okay.
But you're a real rich kid with a bum of an older guy. You gotta pay for his surgery.
Oh, God, he's so lazy.
He's lazy.
Sick. Shut up.
All he does is lay around in bed all day. His hospital bed? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is so sad. Well, we got to sell a ton of lemonade, Mikey. I really do.
We should, because we got to pay for daddy's surgery.
Got to pay for daddy's surgery.
But what I'm curious about is this is a game, because it's based on sort of a text-based game, the interactive elements are kind of limited. It's basically like a set it and forget it type thing. Oh. You choose what you're going into each day with, and then it kind of happens as it is. So that element of like laying it out and placing it, you're not designing a lemonade stand. You're basically just choosing what you're bringing to each day, factoring in the weather and all that stuff, and then it simulates your sales.
So it's kind of like a game of dominoes. I set it all up, and then I start it. And I'm like, is that not a good example?
No, not really.
Why?
Well, I mean, you're not making money through dominoes unless you're Mark Rober with his YouTube videos.
Okay, I don't know what that means, and I refuse to learn. And okay. Well, whatever. Was that like a pizza joke? I don't even know.
A pizza joke?
Yeah, Domino's.
Oh, Andrew. Well, yeah, maybe you could have Domino Tycoon.
Honestly, like Pizza Tycoon is not a bad idea.
If you're out, hey, listen.
Hey,
Pizza Hut. The source code is out there for Lemonade Tycoon.
Yes. No one outpizzas the Hut.
No one outpizzas the Hut. No, I'm curious to see if you'll like it. It is kind of the essence of a Tycoon game.
Yeah.
With the interactivity kind of stripped out of it.
So the part I liked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So maybe there's a reason I haven't played this game now. Okay. Do you think we're going to be good at it?
I think so because of our smart business minds.
Yes, we do have business acumen.
Because we don't have a choice. Daddy needs his surgery.
There's only one way to pay for the surgery. Stand in front and sell some lemonade.
You stand in that hot beating sun.
Absolutely.
Sweating your little nuts off, which haven't dropped yet because you're a child.
I'm a child, yes. Okay, when you're imagining a lemonade stand.
And I do, often.
Okay, what does the stand look like?
Oh, okay. So it's very similar to the therapy booth from Charlie Brown, which is, but just with lemonade written on the top for 5
So it's
cents.
like a couple of like pieces of wood nailed
it's
together.
wood panels.
And then the writing is just like
Lemonade.
Yeah.
With a backwards E.
Okay, so we're visualizing the exact same thing and like 5 cents.
And what are you storing your lemonade in?
A big pitcher.
Right, but like the Kool-Aid style pitcher with the
Absolutely,
curves,
big curves on
an
it.
hourglass
It's so
figure,
sexy.
like the woman who Daddy dumped to be with us.
Man, they got to untap the idea of a really sexy Mr. Kool-Aid, like a curvy,
Fuck yeah.
coming bursting through walls. And you're
Voiced by John Gabris, I think.
yeah, 100%. Yes, exactly. Oh yeah. Now I'm talking. Now getting back to that lemonade stand pornography. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
All right. I know what I'm Googling at 3 a.m. Those words and
yeah.
myself. The wall isn't the only thing I'm going to be busting through. Okay, well let's stop making sex jokes about pictures and maybe go play this game. Andrew, you ready for it?
I would love to go play this game.
Okay, so for those of you joining us over on Patreon, we'll see you over the gameplay segment. If not, we will see you on the other side.
I'm really glad we're not talking about how wet and hot that Mr. Kool-Aid is. Oh yeah.
Just a reminder that you can now find our gameplay segments where we play through a portion of today's game and provide video commentary while doing it over on our Patreon, patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast. Join the Mushroom Club for $5 US per month for access to all the gameplay, plus 2 to 4 bonus episodes per month where we do things like character drafts, top 10 lists, and even take some suggestions from our community. So show some support to the podcast by joining the Mushroom Club at patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast for access to bonus content and all of our gameplay segments. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Is that better, guys?
Lemonade Daddy.
Elliot, is that good?
Elliot, good? You getting that?
Good? He's not listening.
Lemonade Daddy. We gotta go. We gotta hit record, Elliot.
One more time.
Lemonade Daddy.
He's asking us. I don't even know. Like, I
is
don't know.
what you're saying okay? You're not speaking into a mic, Elliot.
3 more times, real fast.
Lemonade Daddy. Lemonade Daddy. Lemonade Daddy. He's doing tongue twisters again.
Yeah, like
I don't care about the woodchuck. How much lemonade could we lose if it melts after a day of not selling lemonade?
What do you think?
He doesn't.
That's the problem.
This fucking son of a bitch.
I know. He's too busy talking to Martine.
I can't wait to pay him less than what we currently pay him.
Yeah, which would be us taking money from him. And welcome back to the Retrograde.
Andrew, we got to wrap this up. I got a whole business to worry about right now.
Seriously, staff, different locations. Where are we? Downtown? Are we in the park? Are we in the suburbs?
Moving that lemonade stand from the suburbs to inside of a train station every day makes my little biceps hurt because of how heavy it is.
People don't talk about that. You know, how much transport is involved in the game, right?
Right.
You know.
No one's helping me carry those bags of melted ice.
Bags of ice. Huge cases of lemons.
Huge cases of lemons.
Bags of white sugar.
White sugar everywhere.
Sleeves of cups.
Hey, you know what I find weird about that game that we just played?
A lot.
Because if you didn't check us out over the gameplay segment over on Patreon, let us bring you up to speed.
Oh my God.
We spent a long time trying to peddle lemonade to the citizens of this incredibly hot city that we were in.
We played the game for so long and trying so desperately to find the perfect formula, not only for our sweet, sweet nectar of lemonade, but also what like the right price was, how many ice cubes per cup when it was the temperature,
profit formula,
where we were going to be, whether we were going to hire staff or not.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Thanks. Man, we were really trying to crack this nut.
So it starts out, it's pretty straightforward. Okay. You don't have money to rent a new space, like a new lemonade stand. You're in the suburbs, which is fine, which kind of means you're starting at a little bit of a profit. I mean, you're in the suburbs.
You are.
You got a little bit of a benefit. You got to, someone was born with a little silver spoon up his wazoo.
Somebody can buy property. They're ripe for some lemonade.
The first step, let's talk gameplay a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So it starts out, you basically have to determine the recipe for each cup of lemonade.
Yeah.
You determine the number of lemons, the amount of sugar, and the number of ice cubes. Ice cubes, they say, should go up or down depending on how hot or cold it is. We didn't find that made a huge difference.
No. Also, the range in temperature wasn't huge.
It wasn't huge.
It was like 100 degrees every day.
The first day was like 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
And then the second day was like 120 degrees Fahrenheit.
It was huge.
Overcast.
Huge leap. People would be dying right in front of you.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
That's why they can't wait. Like, this is the one time. Like, they wait 20 seconds for a lemonade and they're like, not a chance.
I just imagine the guy dying and like, lemonade. And I'm like, $1.70. And he's like, don't have any money. You're like, sorry, buddy. Let him die right in front of you.
He's dying and you're just in the middle of like blending another thing of or juicing another thing of lemonade.
Lemonade here.
Lemonade. But you know what? This taps into the entire idea of these pay-to-play mobile games, like something like Simpsons Tapped Out or something like that. It's less about the building of a city, but it is just that satisfaction of seeing numbers go up.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing the same action every single time, but all you're doing that changes from day to day, apart from tweaking to try to find the best formulas and reading the news articles to make sure that you're taking advantage of like a mayor's visit to the suburbs.
Huge car crash. Everyone's taking the train.
That was actually one.
It was a big day for us.
There was a bunch of drunken university kids that left glass on the beach, so no one's going to show up at the beach.
Water contamination.
Tigers escaped from the zoo and are in the park.
So we closed shop for the day and went to the park to watch the Tigers like everybody else.
Of course you're gonna do that.
Yeah, like other than that, you're right. This game falls into, kind of like we were talking about with the other Tycoon games. Right. You're right. There's not as much customization, but that's okay. It really is just trying to feel smart.
Yes.
Like you get it right, and then you're like, I'm the smartest guy in the world. Right. Here we go. That is what you're trying to do over and over again.
Right. And the way you feel smart is when the profit margin goes up, or the profits you get go up from day to day.
Yeah.
And once they do go up to say you have $60 in the bank, well, now you have a decision to make. Do you spend it on like a bulk purchase of lemons or sugar, or to kind of make up for other potential losses? Or do you spend it on marketing? Every day you can add, $5, $10, $15 in marketing. Do you spend it to rent a new lemonade stand in either the subway or somewhere that's a lot more expensive, the beach?
Yeah.
Or do you hire someone just for the day to have them help you with selling?
Or do you buy a new juicer?
Yeah. So it's kind of incredible how complex it is for a game that looks so simple. Not incredible, but it's to its credit.
Yes.
Because it could have been a lot more simple. But those decisions that you make of like, okay, do I spend a less amount of money on something that's going to help me just for today, or do I spend another day trying to make a profit enough to be able to buy something that's permanently going to help me, like a juicer?
Yeah. And you know what? You were talking about it in the preamble that you were saying that this is an educational game.
Yes.
And you know what? I totally get it.
Yeah.
And it's the best kind of educational game.
Right.
Where you're like, you are just so addicted to playing and getting to the next day and getting to the next day that you're staring at profit and loss margins.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, I'm actually learning something here.
And depending on how far into it you want to go, and this is something that's more of a Lemonade Tycoon thing as opposed to the original Lemonade Stand game because it wasn't visual, but you have a graph that will show you the temperature, your sales that day, your losses that day, your customer satisfaction that day, this and that. So it's like, on really hot days, I don't do so well. I've got to change that up.
Yeah.
Or on really cold days or rainy days, I'm doing really well for some reason. What is that about?
Or if the mayor is visiting the suburbs, the subway station is not a good place to be, which is what we found out in the last one.
So we spent the entire time that we were playing building up. We knew that we wanted to hire Martine, who was a cashier.
Yes.
Because it turns out if the customers wait 20 seconds, if that, less than that.
Oh yeah.
They get really upset.
They get mad.
They get really mad.
There's 3 little like buttons to show you that, there's 4 to show you good or bad. And so one is that they don't like the taste of it.
Right.
They like the taste of it. They're waiting too long or it's too expensive.
Yes. And we spent the first chunk of this trying to figure out the recipe. which it seemed like you had to tweak the recipe a lot based on the day. Once we found the formula of number of lemons, number of sugar packets or whatever it is, and number of ice cubes, we kept that relatively unchanged.
We did until it was National Lemon Day, and then we upped to lemons, or we found out that, or the society found out that sugar is bad for you, so we down the sugar.
But that was so weird because, so you get these news articles, right? Like you said, and it's like, hey, you know, diabetes is on the rise. Everyone's kind of coming down on Big Sugar right now, the band.
Big Sugar.
If you're playing Big Sugar on the stereos in your lemonade stand, you're going to want to put a stop to that.
Only thing I know about Big Sugar, a Canadian band, by the way. I don't know if anyone else knows.
Please
them.
tell me you're going to say the guitar.
Yes. A double neck guitar.
A double neck guitar.
Every time a music video came on, I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. There's two of these things? Like, amazing. You know, only replaced by the other most famous guitarist in my life from Mad Max on the bungee cords.
Oh,
Shooting Fire.
Yes, Shooting Fire. Long live the fire guitarist for Mad Max.
The best.
But we when we found out the sugar, so it's it basically, you assume that this news article about sugar being an issue means you gotta take sugar down a little bit in your recipe.
Yeah, you might say we had a case of the sugars.
We had a case of the sugars. That's what my grandma used to call diabetes.
Yes, I know. I find adorable. For a horrible disease. It's a very adorable way to describe it.
Hey, why have you lost your toes? I got a case of the sugars.
Why are they taking your leg? Oh, a case of the sugars.
Hey, I can make that joke. My grandma had diabetes.
Oh, of course. Yes, I'm so sorry. Absolutely.
No, but you would think that would be queuing you up to reduce the amount of sugar in your recipe. Right. But when we did that, the customers didn't like the recipe.
Yeah.
Is that a commentary on news media, or is it just an issue with the programming?
People just don't know what they want.
People don't know what they want.
I honestly think that's true. Like, there's always like that famous one of like, people don't like scandals with celebrities. Like, no, we don't like that. But when they start putting them on cover magazines, the magazine sales go up.
100%. So maybe we do.
Yeah, maybe don't listen to people what they say.
Maybe you don't like that you like those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Don't remind me that sugar is bad for me. I want sugar in this lemonade.
Yes, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
So those sorts of things felt a little bit weird. Once we found the recipe, as I mentioned, we kept it pretty much stagnant, and that cured a big problem that we have, because you want to develop customer satisfaction in each of the different areas, because that reduces the amount you have to advertise in each area. Because
advertising, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Advertising is a once per day thing. You go I mentioned the $5, $10, or $15 that you can put in, and it will increase the number of people who come to your lemonade stand. But you reach a tipping point, as you do in this, where you can't service the number of people coming to your stand unless you have things like juicers, which are permanent upgrades.
Martines.
Or Martine, the staff, who really fucked us over.
Okay, we need to talk about this. Martine, dropping the proverbial lemon. Every time we hired her, we were a net loss on the day.
$60 per day she wanted. I could have bought a juicer for $49.99, and I did.
Yeah, I'm now understanding why labor, they're like, nope. Automatic, like self-checkout lines, things like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's turning people into little commercial whores.
I mean, that's what's funny about this. This game was supposed to be an education about numbers and profit and this and that, and it was a free game, and the spirit of it was great. But guess what? The idea of making money does to everyone. Makes you really hate things that prevent you from making money, which it turns out in this game is an honest living worker.
Yeah, we also had Simon the mascot, who was a clown.
Yes.
A lemon clown of some kind.
Lemon clown.
Don't explain that one. But and I'm like, he's just waiting on the sideline saying, you guys need me today? It's like, hit the bricks, Simon. The lemon clown, get the hell out of here. We have enough issues with Martine. She's like, Simon, take me with you. I'm like, shut up, Martine.
Hey, Simon, paint that frown upside down.
And he's leaving. Yeah, get the hell out of here. Get in your car with your other 12 buddies.
Suck a lemon. Not one of mine, though, buddy.
Yeah. Lemons cost money, my guy.
So Martine really fucked us over a lot.
Yes.
It had me wondering what the benefits of hiring workers truly was.
Well, I think it had to.
You should be able to negotiate her rates.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We should give it. It should be commission based.
It should be commission based.
There you go.
You don't
shoot and make killing.
Eat what you kill. Eat what you kill.
Right. Eat what you kill. Yes.
That's it.
No, I agree with you. I don't have anything else to add. I think the thing is, once we got to like the stadium, the amusement park, things like that, then we needed the extra person.
Right.
I think we were maybe a little early to pull the trigger on Martine.
Well, the big mistake we made,
which we were getting close to, because
yes, because that basically means that on the outset, you have to pay, if you're in the suburbs, you're not paying rent on anything.
No.
$0.
Yeah, $0.
If you go to the park, it's $10.
Right.
You go downtown, it's $30. Train station, $30. We made the mistake of hiring Martine at $60 a day in the suburbs where you just don't have enough foot traffic.
There's just not enough people to pay off Martine's salary.
So maybe it makes more sense to upgrade your infrastructure, like the juicer, like maybe bigger a cash register before you ever go back there. But
Simon,
get the fuck out of here, Simon. We told you.
What are you doing?
Get out of town.
You're wasting all that seltzer by spraying people in the face. So we lost all that money when we hired Martine in the suburbs. And then we go to the subway station and go, okay, Martine, here we go. Strap on your boots. You're ready to go. The mayor was visiting the suburbs that day.
No one was at the train station.
We lost like $50 on that day.
That was nuts. Big loss. It was all leading up to that. We made a pact that we wouldn't stop playing until we had enough money to rent out the train station and hire Martine for the day.
And we did.
We did.
And it was awful.
So what did you learn that day, Andrew?
Labor is the evil of money.
Labor is the evil of money. And that is finally, it took us 210 episodes to get to this point. But that's it. This is
wrap it up.
This is like the moment that the Insane Clown Posse came out and said that they were evangelical Christians and that their messaging has been prevalent in their songs for the entirety of their existence as a rap group.
They did that?
They did that. They kind of
recent?
A couple of years ago.
Oh, wow.
They kind of like subverted our expectations.
Yeah.
Subliminally inserted the seeds of evangelicism.
Yeah.
And we were inserting the seeds of anti-labor movement in the Retrograde podcast.
And you've been a participant at home. The blood is on your hands.
Blood is on your hands.
D-pads.
The lemon is in ours and maybe in the mouths of our customers as well. Andrew,
I hope so.
We talked about how maybe you wouldn't have appreciated this game because of the lack of interactivity in a map and kind of like laying things out.
Mikey, let me be very clear. I was wrong.
I know you were, baby.
I was wrong.
Yeah,
I was. And I'm so happy to be wrong. That was a lot of fun to play.
It was a great game.
There's an addictive quality to how fast the day turned.
Yes.
And the fact that like you can't do anything during the day, right?
Right.
I think my Domino's analogy actually is pretty correct. But, there's it's a toothpaste tube situation, right?
What?
Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, there's
what does that
nothing you
have to do with selling lemonade, Andrew?
I think a lot to do
because you got to brush your teeth.
It's rotting your fucking teeth. You know how much sugar we put in those things?
Not on Diabetes Day.
Not on diabetes.
And the people hated us for it.
Not on the days the newspapers are like, whoa, sugar's bad. And we're like, whoa, sugar's bad?
It turns out that in this Phoenix type area, I guess, Fox News is prevalent, where when the mainstream media says something, they do the opposite.
But it's so true that they were like, hey, sugar's bad. And they're like, oh God, everyone get rid of sugar. Next day, sugar. The same way that the stock market went through turmoil. No one bought anything because they're like, that's too expensive. The next day, everyone's like, money's back. Let's go. Money's
back, baby.
I know.
Big barrel back in business, as you said.
Yes.
So you liked it, though. You liked the process.
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And like I was saying, like the actual process of going through when you can't change anything, that was very fast.
Yeah.
But it was the right amount of time where you could follow the ups and downs like a roller coaster.
Yes.
And you're like, and then you take time looking at it and going, okay, so how do we change? That process is very rewarding, very fun, and very addictive.
And you know what I love about it? Probably more than anything, in terms of this style of game that it is it's not balanced towards pay to play.
No, it could be.
It could very easily be.
Yes.
Thank God it's not. Because you can imagine all you do is like, hey, pay $5 to unlock
Martine,
$400 in-game currency or Martine.
Yeah.
Screw yourself over and hey, buy yourself the juicer right off the bat.
Exactly.
But that would mean that they would have extended the amount of time it took in-game without paying to get to that point, which would have been miserable.
You show up once a day, do that day.
Yes.
I know. It would have been brutal. So I'm glad that this existed before, that this would have been on our phones, because let's be real, this is how that would go now.
Exactly. So I was happy to revisit it and happy that it held up the way that I thought it would.
Yeah.
There's something incredibly satisfying about setting things the way they're supposed to be and watching it, unlike dominoes, unfold in front of you the way that you want it to.
I think that's exactly what dominoes
I don't think that has anything to do with dominoes.
We're talking about the tiles, not the pizza, right? Oh, wow. You didn't see that coming, did you? It's about the tiles. Like you knock one down and then it's a cascading effect.
Right. You stand the pizza up on crust up, and then you knock one pizza slice into the
right. No, it's not about pizza.
No,
it's not about, most things are, but this one's not about pizza.
Oh,
okay.
Andrew.
No, this is about, you've never seen the little tiles? Have you ever played dominoes, like the games with the numbers and stuff like that?
What does it look like?
Well, they're little, I don't know, they're little like, let's say credit card size type things, and they have numbers on either side, and they're pretty thick. They're sturdy.
Are they red and blue?
No, you're thinking of the pizza again. Why would you be thinking about the pizza?
Well, you just described the dominoes on dominoes.
No, I described the tiles that you play a board. It's like a card game with, kind of, almost. It's like
where do the cards factor into this? Like the cardboard, the dominoes go.
It's not cardboard. It's little. I don't know. I think they're made of some kind of stone. Let's say they're made of a polished rock. And they have little
curling
indentation.
Curling?
No, that's another sport entirely. I think this would be easier if I take this off mic and show you a visual.
Okay.
It would answer all your questions.
Oh,
and probably have no upcoming ones at all.
Are you talking about like the rectangles that you stand up and push one into the next that you cover in cheese and tomato sauce and eat?
No, you're so close too. Oh, no. Though that's once again pizza. You're thinking of pizza. From
because
Domino's.
Pizza are those little stones with numbers on them that you line up in a row.
And you have to avoid the noise.
So you're talking about pizza.
No, I'm not talking about pizza again. Okay.
Wow.
Well, we'll have to take this one off.
I got to school you
We've got a whole
after
other Patreon episode coming up of explaining Domino's versus Domino's. So, Mikey, I think it's time to talk about Lemonade Stand. I think it's time to get to our scores.
I think we should. So for those of you who are new to the podcast, typically, as we mentioned earlier, what we do is we take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. We give them a rating out of 4 bits, which is based on our memory of the game when we played it as children. Then we give the game another rating out of 4 bits, which is how the game holds up in the modern day against the likes of modern games like Disco Elysium, like Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, like the Overwatch 2 beta. Also out of 4 bits. So Andrew, why don't you start us off? Because you didn't have any experience with the game. Give us your rating of the game, what you would have given it had you played it as a kid, based on all the little things that made you who you were.
Right. The Lemonade Stand beta was incredibly, fulfilling. Yes. It was a really full game.
It was too much like the original Lemonade Stand.
But also simultaneously, nothing like it. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. Okay, so this game was a ton of fun to play and really hits on a lot of like the pleasure sectors, especially as a kid for me, was like this addictive quality of trying to be the smartest person to do it. And I just would have tried to perfect it. I would have tried to find the right number of like, when we're in the park, it has to be 2 to 1. But when we move to the subway, you got to increase the advertising budget and blah, 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 blah. I would have absolutely adored this. Now, what is honest to God holding me back from giving this a perfect 4? A perfect, I can't be in distress that this is right down my alley, is that the other games that were around at the same time were giving me more opportunities for customization.
Sure.
There's a lot of elements of this that I can do in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Right.
But I can also build goddamn roller coasters.
Right.
And there's a lot of things I can do in SimCity. Man, SimCity is a really dense game.
Yes.
Like there is a lot you could do. So this inside of SimCity, except you can also build public transportation and roads and highways and things like that.
Everyone leading straight to your Lemonade Stand.
All
you run
roads
for mayor.
And I'm in the suburbs that day, not in the subway station. Those games are
tax benefits for the Lemonade.
Yeah, 100%. I get to build a mayor's house, and guess what's on the front lawn? That Lemonade Stand. That is just so much more dense and big. But there is something kind of perfect in how small and tight it is. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Yes,
a big score, but only because it's great at what it does. It just, there is more opportunity in games just like it.
I'm so happy to hear that. I knew Andrew that you would like it.
Yeah, you said that
because it just, I was worried about the lack of interactivity and maybe you just kind of poo-poo it or whatever. But I totally agree with you. And as a kid playing this game, I didn't need much more than that. I played the version pre-2002 as well. And as a kid, it was just very satisfying. It was like a computer lab game, like Circus Math or any of those Mavis Beacon games. All the Right Type was another one that I used to play. All these like educational games. This one almost worked better for me than like Oregon Trail or Cross Country Canada was another one because those seemed much more big picture. The bite-sized nature of this one, and the fact that like the game is relatively the same, whether you're playing it in the very beginning or the very end. It's just that the scope of how much money you make varies.
Absolutely.
You're making $3 instead of $30 instead of $300. And that satisfaction and the fact that the fail state wasn't as punishing as some of those other games that you used to play just felt like I could pick it up and play it midstream from the beginning, saved game, new game, it didn't matter. And I love doing it every time I did. I'm giving this one a 3.5 out of 4 as well.
Wow. Yes, that's great. And I actually think that's a really good point. It's not that they made it you made $3,000.
Yeah.
You made $30.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it was like incredibly reasonable to go like, I could do
relatable.
this. I could
It's
do this.
relatable.
Instead of driving cross country in a hauler, I'm like, now look at this like, I could do that. I
Yes.
can go to the park and sell lemonade.
And you know what they do that always works in games like this is the first time you see on Unlockable, you're like $49.99. I've got $3.
How
That's
in the
insane.
hell am I going to do that?
And then later on, you're like, okay, I'm pretty close to that $399 one. Do I wait out or do I buy this one
right,
now?
yeah. Like if I kill Martine, what could I? Yeah, no.
What's her health insurance policy like?
Exactly. So that's wow. Okay, so 2 3.5. That's a 7 out of 8. Pretty good. Let's see what's gonna do in the modern score.
Let's go see Andrew. So why don't you start us off in the modern score? What is new age, modern? He's got the trendy clothes on.
Sure.
He's
Yeah, you know me.
cybernetic implants.
Absolutely.
He's living in the year 2022, baby.
Oh,
How
cyberpunk.
about you?
Cyberpunk 2022. Okay, this one is tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
This gets the tough stamp because it is so simple. It is so ugly at times to look at. It's so blocky, and to say that we're going to compare it to modern games and Overwatch 2 beta and all this kind of stuff, it is almost laughable sometimes to think that like these two games would have anything in common because they pretty much don't. But this is kind of what we're saying about the simplicity thing. It can go two ways. Sometimes it's too simple, like Magic Johnson's Fast Break, where you're too many backcourt violations. Or this one where it's simple for simple sake, and that works because it's just tight, and I don't need to do more. And the idea that maybe we did more, it would actually ruin the game in a lot of ways. It's really good. It's super addictive. And because I can't play a game like this now without going on a mobile phone and playing Farmville and having to pay gold coins that would be $29.99, I think there's something really beautiful about the simplicity of this game. For me, and these things are incredibly subjective, this is so much fun and nearly perfect, and a game that I genuinely would play today in the likes of Fortnite and all the other ones that we talked about. I'm going to give this another 3.5 out of 4.
Amazing. Andrew, since we've been talking, it's hard for me to listen to what you're saying because all I'm thinking about is like what I'm going to do when you leave to increase my profits when I play Lemonade Tycoon. After I masturbate.
I'm going to strip naked and lemonade stand.
And
lemonade stand.
And then I'm going to make sure the cameras are turned off. No, I agree with you 100%. I think that when you're reviewing a game, especially the modern day score, you have to factor in what the game is trying to do and what it does with the space that it carves out for itself. It could have done some city planning things. It could have had some interactivity like a Roller Coaster Tycoon does, but then it would be competing one-to-one against Roller Coaster Tycoon. I love how simple this is. It is a text-based adventure with a little bit of user interface added to it, but not much. And that just one more day feeling that I have is so good. The game is balanced so well for being what it is that I feel like I'm constantly excited about the next day. Something gets fucked up. I'm like, okay, I can do that better the next time. I know what this is. The one gripe I have is with the recipe. They should give you some indication about what people don't like about it. That could change from time to time. I would like that manipulation. I think it would add a lot to it, but that would be the only balance thing that I'd want to change. Otherwise, I think it's like, it's almost as tightly packed an experience as you can have in gaming. And the thing that makes me want to give it a really high rating is every other time we go back to play an educational game, it doesn't feel this tight.
No.
It doesn't feel this balanced. It feels drawn out. The enjoyable moment-to-moment satisfaction isn't as prevalent and as available as it is in Lemonade Tycoon because it gives it to you once every minute and a half, 2 minutes. It's like a mobile game that we would get now, but back in the other generation and as you mentioned, without in-app purchases, at least in the version that we played, it's a 3.5 out of 4 for me as well. Like it's just, and here's the thing, I know that other games that are considered to be better have gotten higher scores, but when you make a bigger game, you're held to a different set of standards. Is this a better game than like Red Dead Redemption 2? First of all, yes.
No.
Second, no, but it's like, it's not trying to be Red Dead Redemption 2. It's trying to be a tight, educational, experiential game that is as close to a text-based adventure as a game with a user interface can be, and it does that really, really well. So you grade it accordingly, as we did, in giving it 3.5s all across the board.
That is crazy. Lemonade Tycoon. That's incredible. We're going to find out what awards it's won in a little bit here. But you're absolutely right. It came out at the right time because it could have been a game where you're like, and now you drive to the next location.
Yes.
And the driving would have been awful, but they would have thought that would have been an added value to the game. But it didn't do that. And I'm so lucky for it. That game was a ton of fun. So it deserves the score I got.
And there's something, I know some people will add like, well, the Yakuza games almost have a version of Lemonade Tycoon within them. There's like you have like rosters of like dancers or people in your bars that you have to build out and all that, and make money through all your businesses. And it's like, sure, but that's a part of a bigger game. And the fact that there are other things to do makes it's not like you can easily give a 3.5 all around to Yakuza because it contains that game within it.
Yeah.
When you do more, you're expected to balance more and give me more of a larger experience. This knew what it was trying to do and did it very, very well. And I'm super satisfied with it.
You could have the best steak, ever in the world. And then they're like, but it's also a steak salad. And you're like, well, now I got to judge the salad too.
Yes.
And you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay. But if it was just a steak, you're like, hey, that's a good steak.
100%.
Oh my God.
And this is a great steak.
This is a very good steak.
This steak is a great Lemonade Tycoon.
Absolutely. More sugar on this steak, I say. I do not like the recipe, but wait. Oh, music. All right.
I see Todd Snap is getting everyone ready at the red carpet. So let's make our way over to the red carpet.
It's getting bossy.
And then get this rewards. Just hey, Todd, snap out of it.
Oh, very good.
Oh, he didn't like that.
He's
okay. Let's make our way.
Let's go.
Okay.
You've been waiting for it all year. The most glamorous award ceremony of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gradies.
Okay. Wow, we made it past Todd.
Yeah.
He threw an apple at me.
Look at me. Like hits you with an apple. Oh my God, Todd Snap, what an asshole.
And Professor Oak was just there. Or is Oak's in the first one?
Oak's in the first
I
one.
think Oak is in the second one. Oh no, Pokemon Snap, the second one has that really creepy professor.
Oh yeah, I don't like that guy.
Really loves younger kids.
Yes, exactly. Well, they all kind of have.
They all kind of do. They all kind of do.
What's your gender?
What's your gender? Are you sure?
Get off my back. Do you want to put the gender in your name? No. What is going on here?
Well, look, Elliot's coming on. Oh, look, Elliot's set up with a little lemonade stand of his own.
That's nice.
He carried that lemonade stand here of his own volition. He's a strong boy. He's a strong boy.
That's insane.
Elliot, pass us one of those cups of lemonade. Let us try that out.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
He canned it. Wow.
Oh, he canned it. Wow. That's pretty good. That's pretty good noise. Yeah. What do you think?
Andrew?
Yeah.
That's not lemonade.
Oh, really? What is it? Yeah. What is it?
Cabernet Sauvignon.
It's a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Elliot.
Wow. You should be charging way more for that.
This was 36 cents?
Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of money.
You're going to lose a lot of money on
this. Did you
this.
not learn anything from this game today?
It's duckhorn? That's an expensive one, too.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Mikey, now Mikey's showing off, too. Now you're both showing off. I feel like a horse's ass.
Hey, Andrew, I'll sell you...
Horses!
No. Ride like the wind, bullseye.
You're a good podcast.
Nay. You only said that because you're not editing this week, Andrew. Okay, well, listen, Elliot, enough with the weird lemonade, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Wow, that was weird.
Whatever. Why don't you let us know, reach into that picture of yours where you've stored the envelopes with all the awards. It's a weird place to reach out, grab those soggy envelopes, and let us know the awards this game won.
God damn it. Don't sell that.
The hermetically sealed vault of expectations.
And the field of childhood dreams.
If you play it, they will review it fondly.
And he fits like an old glove compartment.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
The Chevy Silverado Like a Rock Dwayne Johnson & Johnson, a family company trophy, Hall of Fame trophy.
Yes. Suck it.
Holy moly. 4 fantastic awards.
Wow. The clean sweep.
It's very rare that a game wins 4 awards, but today is that rare day.
Today is that day.
Today is that rare day. It gets the hermetically sealed vault of expectations where the score in the retro score and the current score are the same.
Wow.
It gets the fits like an old glove compartment where the current score is above a 7.
Wow.
The field of childhood dreams where the retro score is above a 7, and the
Chevy Silverado.
do you want to say it at the same time?
No.
Okay, here we go.
The Chevy Silverado, like a rock. Dwayne Johnson & Johnson, a family company. Hall of Fame trophy. I forgot one trophy. Damn it.
Almost.
You know what didn't forget a trophy? Lemonade Tycoon.
Lemonade Tycoon
Holy
did not.
smokes.
Listen, with all that profit, let's get. Do we need a remake? Probably not.
No.
I
This
want
is
to get
perfect.
that.
Don't
I want
touch
to get
it.
that for my phone and just make sure it doesn't have in-app purchase. 100%. I would play the shit out of this game.
Steam Deck, heads up. You're getting this thing. Let's play.
You know that $500 piece of machinery you bought? Yeah, I'm playing a game from 2002.
It's borderline an abacus game, and you could do it on this.
Wow, some great reviews. Honestly, very warranted to be sharing the spotlight with the likes of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Tetris, Banjo-Kazooie, Contra 3. Simpsons Hit and Run, the best game of all time. GoldenEye, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
These are all really good games.
These are all very good games, all of which were in the Chevy Silverado, like a rock, Dwayne Johnson & Johnson, a family company trophy, Hall of Fame trophy.
I forgot the trophy again.
Oh!
Man, that was a ton of fun. And I will say, if you want to become a member at the Mushroom Club, patreon.com/Retrograde Podcast, that was a ton of fun to play that game. We recorded the whole thing and put it up there. So if you want to hear us play that game, we want to hear what you thought about Lemonade Tycoon on top of that.
Definitely.
So if you have memories of the game, if you're playing still, honestly, I don't blame you. Let us know at Retrograde Mikey, at Retrograde Andy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun playing it, and it's one of those experiences where some of the games that we play, we don't talk a lot because we're like super engaged with it.
Yeah.
This one warrants conversation.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes I get it. You want a little less conversation and a little more action, but this is not the case. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I'm 100% going to continue to play this game.
I honestly want to play it too. It's like kind of the same thing where we played like NBA Street Volume 2.
Yes.
Over at the Mushroom Club again. And it was like the second you put it down, you're like, well, I'm going to play that now forever. All right, let's go. And it's the same way here because I kind of want to figure out the right formula, the right strategy for this game.
For sure.
Man, that was so much fun. Thank you so much for listening. We love every single one of you, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name's Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over. Fuck you, Martine! Want more Retrograde in your life? You can visit our website for show notes at theretrogradepod.com. Follow us on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey, at Retrograde Andy, and the podcast at Retrograde Pod.
Or Instagram at The Retrograde Podcast.
For bonus episodes, check us out at patreon.com/The Podcast.
Send your questions and business inquiries to theretrogradepodcast@gmail.com.
See you next week, D-pads.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Lemonade Daddy.